Good evening, everybody. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. Special welcome to all of you who are presently signing in on Zoom. This is going to be a large class, so we see the board lighting up now. I want to welcome everybody. Welcome to our virtual gathering. I want to say hi to all of the people who are watching us every week now on Facebook, and on YouTube. And also I want to remind those of you who are on Zoom that any of these broadcasts can be reviewed an hour or two later after we record them on both of those platforms. We are also available on other platforms. You can look to our chat. Throughout our chat, you'll see posted links to our website, links to just about everything we do. So this class is about the teachings of Louise Hay. Louise was a practitioner and a minister, staff minister here at First Church. Many years ago, she was learning the science of mind, the teachings of Ernest Holmes, and other New Thought teachers that we had here at the time. So we're continuing on in the same tradition. I have been working with the book You Can Heal Your Life since it first came out, and we've had this particular Thursday night gathering going on every Thursday for the past 5 years. We've never missed a Thursday night. We're here through holidays and all other times. So please always remember to join us on Thursdays. The same link, by the way, will work for Wednesday evening. Jimmy is conducting a creative living series, and he has guest speakers occasionally too, every Thursday at 7. And then we meet for our gatherings on Sunday morning at 10:45 for meditation, and after that we have our Sunday lesson. You're going to learn in this class tonight the importance of just tuning in, the importance of the affirmative work we do, and the value of repetition. I'm going to continue on with a subject I did in the past week or two that everyone has liked. The subject involved affirmations and neuroplasticity, and how when we repeat affirmations with passion, what we're doing is we're creating new neural pathways in our life. And the more we're able to think these bigger thoughts and higher thoughts and establish them in belief, you're going to achieve them in your life. So welcome everybody. Again, those of you who've just signed on. Some of you, first of all, I want to say that all of our classes, this class on Thursday, Wednesday's class, our Sunday gatherings are offered free of charge. Some of you are now giving us love offerings by check, or else you go to the chat. There's many support options. So do what you can. We appreciate everything, whatever gift, large or small. It's all contributes, and it allows us to keep doing the work that we're doing. As I say, we've been taking this healing message now for 5 years solid, every single Thursday. And it's the success of it, everybody can see. We listen to your comments after the lessons, and it's really a wonderful thing for me to experience how people are understanding the principles we're teaching. And more than that, how the principles are really positively impacting people's lives. So that's very gratifying, and I thank you, and all of us at the center thank you, because the lesson, the teaching in and of itself is fantastic. It's when we get people together who show how they're using the teaching to bring about positive change. That inspires us all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a little writing for you. I don't know if I'll call it a poem. The secret power of self-talk. In the quiet corners of mind, whispers stir and twine. A secret power lies within, where thoughts and soul align. Words spoken in silence, echoes in the heart's alcove, crafting neural pathways in the brain's intricate trove. Believe, they murmur, in the strength you hold inside, for every word you utter in your mind does reside. Shape your world with self-talk, let positivity reign, turn the key of thought, break free from doubt's chain. In the garden of your mind, where thoughts like flowers bloom, banish weeds of negativity, don't let them consume. Cultivate the seeds of hope, let affirmations flow. In the soil of consciousness, let new pathways grow. Open the gates, they say, to a world of change and light, where beliefs form reality in the dance of day and night. Your words are powerful, a force that can transform. In the brain's neuroplastic dance, they break the norm. Each thought a brushstroke, painting's life grand mural in the canvas of existence. Each choice is crucial. The secret power of self-talk, a guide to what can be, unlocking potential, setting your spirit free. Believe in the magic, the transformational art, for in the realm of mind, you play the central part. In every affirmation, in every hopeful thought, lies the key to change in the battles fought and sought. So harness this power, let your inner voice be kind, for in the pathways of your brain, your life story is entwined. Speak to yourself with love. Let your thoughts be a dove, soaring high above in the skies of change and love. So it is. So this is our talk. We're talking about our affirmations and creating avenues in mind, neural pathways in mind. We're talking about rewriting the script. We're talking about letting go of old tapes, old scripts. We're doing overrides. So we got this idea from the class that we've done earlier that everyone loved so much. We got so much commentary about, and it was a very powerful class where, again, we discussed and people commented on how they can create much more powerful affirmations. And in so doing, the more powerful your affirmation, the greater results you're going to have in your life. And in that class, that powerful class, we brought up the subject of neuroplasticity. And many of you have sent questions and comments wanting more conversation about this subject, a little bit more information, and I'm going to be giving you some tonight. And I'm going to be continuing to digest more and more about this because it really amplifies what we do, what we teach, and how we teach what we teach. I have a little bit more this evening I want to share with you, and I want to reiterate some of the things we've already shared. So I'm excited to get in that conversation a little bit more. And once again, to show how your commitment to your affirmative work can have a deeper and more profound impact than ever we thought before. We learned this in this new field. And so thanks to this feedback we got from our previous session, we're continuing on with our exploration of this subject. I know you can take your demonstrations to a higher level. I'm completely convinced after reading this material. As we come together, all of us, we're grateful. First of all, for every new person that's here tonight, I want to say hello. You're welcome. There's no coincidence that you're here. You don't wind up in places like this unless there's something within you that's resonating or it's time. Everyone's participation in our gatherings, by the way, and your insights are very, very important to us. They're the heart of this journey. They inspire me and all of us to learn and grow together. Everyone's willingness to embrace this affirmative life that we teach and talk about every single week. The life that Louise was talking about. Your willingness to share, because after the lesson we have a time for sharing, or in the chat you share also. Wherever and however you give of yourself in those ways, it helps us all. In our space of learning and acceptance, feel free to share in the chats. And again, we'll turn it over in a few moments after I'm done, and we'll have an opportunity to hear from you. At the center, the church, we're here to remind you of the truth. We're here to remind you that you're a manifestation of love. You are one with the universe, and you have the power to shape your own life. We would say to you, you are one with the one. It's Ernest Holmes said, there's power for good in the universe greater than you, of which you're a part, and you can use the power. And what Holmes was trying to say is that we live in this continuum of love and light and this energy. This energy is in everything, and it's everyone all the time. And what you got to get from that one statement is if that energy is in everything and everyone and all the time, that energy, that God, that good, that perfection is in you, operating through you. You can't get better. You're already as good as it gets. But what you can do is you can awaken up to that divine fact that you are an inlet and you are an outlet of this spiritual activity. And whatever this universe has in the way of intelligence and power, you are born into it. You are an inlet and you are an outlet of it. And as Raymond Charles Barker, who was our founding pastor, minister, was always fond of saying, you, every one of you, are the whole bit. So you're not a powerless person. You're not a person whose life story was meant to be small. You've come here to evolve. You've come here to expand. You've come here to grow. You're here to express yourself as dynamically as you can. Some of you have read that piece from Marianne Williamson where she'll say it's our light that scares us. Because the thing is, you were born as a spiritual being. You have within you the power to move mountains, the ability to heal things, the ability to transmute conditions. You're a powerful being. You are one with the one. Or using other language that you hear me say quite often, you are an individualization of this one incredible, powerful, creative intelligence. So whatever it is, you are. So let's start off by knowing that for ourselves tonight. And you might not think that you're all that. You might have a very low opinion of yourself. You may have been programmed to be told a lot of things. We've all been programmed. That's part of tonight's lesson. We've been programmed with a lot of negativity through no one's particular fault. Some of it's what we call race mind. It's the beliefs of the people that live in the world. A lot of it has to do with what we were raised as children. But despite all the programming, there's the undeniable fact that you are one with the one. And each and every day, and every week and month and year of your life, you are growing, you're evolving, you're stepping into your greatness, you are shedding off the old ideas, and you're always embracing bigger and newer ideas. Every single person here has a story. We've all been through things, which I'll call stuff. And we've gone through things, we've learned and we've grown, and we will continue to learn and grow and expand for every day that we're on this planet Earth. Dr. Bill was one of my favorite teachers, and he said, I want you all to think of this as like a schoolhouse. And he said, by that, I mean you're spiritual beings, and you've come into the world, and you're here to evolve. You're here to grow. And it wouldn't be very interesting if everything were always the same. So every day, every week, we're going to have new challenges, or as my dad used to say, new exciting challenges. And the thing to remember is you have the capability and the ability not only to deal with the things that are happening in your life, but to transcend them, to transmute them, to be victorious. So that's because of who you are. Another religious science saying is perfect place, perfect time, all the time. That's an important idea to think about and mention, because it would suggest that, you're always, you might not like where you are, and I can certainly relate to that. But the thing is, wherever you are in a place where you're learning very, very particular and unique lessons for you. And as we get involved in this teaching more and more, we're dedicated to seeing the good in every encounter. When you hear people talk about namaste, they're saying, the divinity in me sees the divinity in you and acknowledges it. When we talk in religious science about the idea of perfect place, perfect time, all the time, what we're saying is we're living, we're moving, we're having our being in this perfect existence. And all of us have lessons. The world itself has lessons. Every person who's living is in a continuum of learning and expansion and growth. So, with that in mind, let us take a pause, take a brief breath in, and say to yourself, I am supplied and supported, and release anything that suggests anything else. I am one with the one, and release. Whatever God is, or whatever the universe is, I am. And you might repeat that to yourself. Whatever the universe is, I am. Louise Hay said the bottom line for people, everyone she ever worked with, was they didn't feel good enough, adequate. They were programmed with a lot of negativity. She said that, she says that the bottom line, she says, I've talked to many, many people, but if you get right down to the core of it, people don't feel good about who they are, what they've done. There's guilt, there's shame, there's blame. So in this moment, I want you to think about any of these areas of your life, any of these areas that don't serve you well, and whatever comes to mind, say to yourself right now, I release the need for this, or I release the need for this experience. I release the need for this belief. And do it passionately. Summon up whatever emotion you have or feeling about any negative thing and tell yourself, I release the need for you. Thank you for what you have taught me about myself. And I release the need for you right now, or for it. And then go right back into the idea, saying to yourself, I am supplied and supported now and always. I am supplied and supported now and always. I am one with this one power, this one energy. I love myself the way I am. And repeat that one again. I love myself the way I am. These are affirmations. The more you take them into your heart and your mind, the more deeply you root them, the more passionately you say them, are going to cause you to create what we call neural pathways in your mind. And the more you say these things and believe these things, by the law of mind, you're going to see them reflected in your world. So take time to make these positive statements, these affirmations. Let these affirmations override the old thoughts, the negative thoughts. You have the power with your affirmative prayers and your affirmations, when you connect with them and believe them, to heal your life. In our last class, we mentioned, we talked about this. So let's begin with them again. Know that our affirmations are powerful. I want to expand a little bit on what we learned in that class. As we read up and study more about neuroplasticity, we're learning about the prevalence of negativity in the world. I've always known that people who followed Louise Hay and religious science have been dedicated to seeing the good. Louise Hay taught us, in many ways, the very same things we're talking about tonight. She would say, I trust the process of life. She believed in the goodness of life. She believed in taking the positive approach. So our philosophy is a little bit akin to taking a mystical approach to life, which is to see spirit and to see goodness in everything, to know that life is unfolding perfectly at all times and all places. This is the path, by the way, of the transcendentalists, who were the people who started our teaching. This is the path that Louise Hay taught. This is the path that Ernest Holmes spoke of. This is why they taught me at Unity over 35 years ago that we are the fortunate ones. The people who find our ways into these kinds of teachings, be it Unity or divine science or religious science, we're very, very fortunate because we understand that we are cause to our own experience. We know that we live, we move, we have our being in this energy, this unitary field, this collective field of energy that's good. So we live in it, we move in it, we have our being in it. We know that this energy is all that there is. So whatever it is, we're a part of it. Ernest Holmes, in the first 4 chapters of the textbook, would talk about, and trying to explain this energy, he would say what it is, what it does, how it works. So we understand that we live, we move, we have our being in it. And we understand, because of that, we understand that the good, we understand what the good and the wise people have always understood. The mystics have understood that this is what there is, this is all that there is, and that we are awake in it. And that's astonishing in and of itself. When you wake up to the realization that I am one with the one. And when you come into that spiritual understanding, you're going to realize this energy is responding to you. And it's responding to what you say. And unfortunately, most of the world is programmed with negative thoughts. 77% is thought of the world is programmed with negativity. The thing that's really, really good for us in these types of teachings are that we don't buy into that. And that doesn't mean we don't have negativity within us, because we all have work to do. But those of us who have been involved in this teaching for any length of time have been working with our thought processes. We've been working on canceling the negatives. We've gone to affirmative prayer in the glossary in the textbook, where Ernest Holmes himself, under the word treatment, will say it's the time, it's the art, it's the method of ridding this negativity. It's the time, the art, the method. It's whatever you do and whatever you can do within yourself to get rid of this negativity. Now, listen, now that we're learning that 77% approximately of the world is negative in their thoughts, that shows us there's a lot of work to do. It's gratifying to know that we've found this teaching because we squarely hit it right head on. We ask you every week to pay attention to your conversation. We talk about the conversation that you're having with yourself as being the single most important conversation in your world, because that's the conversation that's most creative. I always ask on Thursday, what has it been like being you? Because I've always known that whatever is going on inside of me, inside of you, is the very thing that's creating our lives. So, back to my lesson. We understand what the good and the wise have always understood in our teaching. That we live in it, we move in it, we have our being in it, and we wake up to it every now and then. The more we practice, the more we practice the presence, the more we show up in these classes. These classes are wonderful. They don't cost anything. You can show up Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday just for a big reminder of how wonderful you are. You don't get that everywhere in the world. If the vast majority of the people are negative. So people show up here and we keep reminding you of how great thou art, and that you have the power within you to change it all around. So when Holmes said there's power for good in the universe greater than you, of which you're a part, you can use it, that's what he was talking about. He was also inferring that a lot of people are using their consciousness destructively, unintelligently. And so that's what we want to do here. We want to come here and realize, okay, we have the power to use, and we want to remind ourselves to use it more often. So tuning in often is good. Having your own practices like journaling and meditating and taking a pause, becoming more mindful, creating a vision board. Everything you can do to be about the bigger idea, the more expansive idea, is being about your Father's business. We talk about it in different ways. We say here, we're doing important work, and we don't want to go down. We don't want to go back to the type of things that we might have been doing at any point in the distant path. Our job is to keep our conversation on high, to hitch our wagon to the stars that Emerson was talking about. People have had the understanding that we teach for centuries. Ralph Waldo Emerson certainly did, and there's others too. Very few, discovered him. There's always been a small number of people. Religious science is not a huge group of people either, but so that just underscores those of you who have found your way into a gathering like this and similar gatherings, how lucky you are, how fortunate you are. I consider myself one of the most fortunate people in the world because I found this teaching. I stayed with it. For one reason or another, I got to present these Louise Hay classes every week for the past 30 some odd years. And it's been wonderful for me because it keeps on reminding me. It keeps on reminding me to love, accept, and approve of myself, to never, never, never criticize myself, to know that all is well. So this is the type of conversation that we want to have with ourselves. And this is the kind of conversation that will establish these neural pathways, or what David Walker, past president of religious science, would call avenues in mind. Because if your mentality is clouded with negativity through no fault of your own, these positive thoughts, these life-giving thoughts that Louise Hay talked about, when they're reinforced with passion, when you know that they're true, you're going to start having demonstration after demonstration. The good you're looking for. Spirit's always wooing you, by the way, trying to get your attention, wanting you to grow, wanting you to evolve. And so when you invite it into your awareness and you commune with it and you start thinking these more expansive thoughts and you start claiming them as your own and you do so with passion and great belief, you're going to have demonstrations. The majority of humankind, I know, I've read in countless places now, leans towards negativity. So that's not necessarily true of the people here because a good number of you have been working on your consciousness for a long time. Some of you have become very, very optimistic, and some of you have learned to transmute negative experiences and see the good unfolding. No matter what is happening. I know some of you have done it with your health. I know some of you have done it with your economic situations. All the research indicates that a significant portion of people's thoughts, though, are quite negative and self-defeating. And I kept on thinking, that's not going to be true of people who are in this teaching and who show up often and who practice these principles when they're by themselves. Last week when I was talking about this lesson, I was doing the initial research. It was something like 77% of the world, it's thought, 77% of the world has a negative outlook. And I thought, gosh, that's not very good. So that's a large percentage of the world, which is contributing to what we call race consciousness. And that's not really a wonderful number. That is troubling because we understand that thoughts are things. And what are we going to do when there's so much negativity around us? And what we answer, what we've always said in religious science, and let it begin with us. It has to start somewhere, and it starts with us. And then there's 2 of us, then there's 4 of us. Recently, there's 150 of us tuning in, and there's another couple hundred watching our broadcasts. And that's a pretty good group. And we're not the only group that's doing it. We may be one of the larger ones, but we begin ourselves. Each of us on this call, to some extent, is already committed to working on themselves, or he just wouldn't be here. Pervasive negativity isn't just a hindrance to your well-being. It also has a direct impact on our physical health as well. The studies that I was reading, I've already spoken of, is that 3/4 of the illnesses that people have are brought on initially from their mental states. Louise herself was dealing with cervical cancer, and she had other issues. And she realized that she simply had to get at the underlying patterns of thought. She needed more than just Western medicine. She needed to get at the underlying patterns of thought. She needed to create new neural pathways, stronger beliefs, stronger affirmations. It was her thought that we create disease in our bodies, and that we need to take much better care of our bodies, take better care of our minds, get more sleep, more exercise. And we needed to take a holistic and a whole new positive approach towards loving ourselves. So with the advances in science, the revelations that we've been reading about lately, we understand how our thinking and our thoughts have such a profound impact on our lives. The science that we're talking about underscores why these teachings, when we deliberately focus on seeing the good, are not just beneficial, but they're essential. Again, we who come together and practice this and keep practicing it, who take the pause to reflect, to know that you are God, to take a pause and know that you are supplied and supported. We who do this are very fortunate to have discovered a pathway that emphasizes positive thinking. This is a practice that's indeed, that we're committed to. Neuroplasticity is nothing short of revolutionary, at least in my way of thinking, because it reveals that our brain is not fixed, but our brain is dynamic. And it's very moldable, and it's moldable throughout your life. So you can do it when you're 52 or 82. Your brain isn't fixed. It's dynamic, it's moldable. It means that the negative programming, which most of us have been subjected to since childhood, is not permanent. In fact, you can very quickly start creating new pathways. We have the power to change the negative around. We have the power to rewire our brains for positivity and success. Every one of us. And as you do, your health's going to improve too. We have the ability to rewire our brains for positivity and success. Louise Hay's teaching resonates profoundly with this idea. She again and again said, all illness is invited through consciousness. Now, that doesn't mean you'd actively invite it like you want it, but it's your belief, your negative belief, your critical belief, your critical thinking, all the doomsday negative stuff. All that negativity aligns with the idea that these persistent negative images and thoughts will eventually show up in your life as physical ailments. She was strongly telling us that in her writings. So this kind of revelation is twofold. Not only do we need to be aware of the detrimental impact of negative thinking, but we definitely have the opportunity here through this science and neuroplasticity to change our thought patterns and consequently our life experiences. We will get healthier. We will get better. Our circumstances will change. The research that I'm doing in my reading tells me if we are active, we're actively passionate and passionately working on our affirmations and our affirmative prayers, we're already turning around a lot of negatives. We talk about it. I've been talking about it to this group for over 5 years. This particular group's been meeting every Thursday for 5 years. I've been doing a version of this group for over 25, 35 years. But this group in New York is every single Thursday. And the research tells us if we're actively and passionately working on our affirmations, bringing them to a place of belief, then we have already turned a lot of the negatives around. What you've been doing with all your work, this inner work, is you've been learning to love yourself more and more, and you're realizing that all is well, and you're trusting the process of life. So you've come a long way. I will only say staying plugged into these gatherings, as some of you do often, is great. If you wander off and you get caught up back into what we'll call world thinking, most of that tends to be negative. So people who are in this teaching get smart. And we become guardians at the gate. We don't want to watch all the news. We don't want to get involved in every negative conversation. Wherever there's a lot of gossip and negativity and all of that, we really wanting to get more about Spirit's business, and we want to be about knowing the interconnectivity, the good, the fact that all of us are a part of one another. That's the higher conversation. We're really attempting to be about Spirit's business. The one thing I'd say from reading all I have about neuroplasticity and how we can replace the negative thoughts with far more positive ones, right? These neural pathways, is it would knowing this, it would be wonderful if everyone could make an intention to double down on their positive affirmations and seeing the good. Since we know that there's a dominance of negative thinking in most people's lives, no matter how subtle it is, it becomes really important to double down on our practice of positive affirmations. The repetition of these affirmations, especially when they're fueled with passion or emotion, will forge new neural pathways. This process is like carving a new path in a dense forest. Initially, it's a challenge, right? And unfamiliar, but with persistent walking and persistent effort, or in our case, persistent positive thinking. The time, the art, the effort, Holmes would say, to rid that negativity. So we want to double down on these affirmations, say them until we mean them, and be persistent. We want to create this pathway until it becomes well-trodden and easy to navigate. The practice of continually focusing on the good, of training our brains to default to the positive. If we could train ourselves to default to the positive, we're always going to be the lifter. People say negative things, and we're always going to default to the positive and empowering thought. That's more than an exercise. That becomes a life-altering discipline. And by doing so, we're not just improving our mental health, we're initiating a holistic transformation that encompasses our emotional and physical well-being. Our first class on this subject was a powerful introduction to these concepts. Because as the science of neuroplasticity teaches us, repetition is the key. We want to keep repeating the affirmations until they're ingrained. The more we hear, the more we discuss, and the more we engage in these ideas, the more deeply they become ingrained in our consciousness. So it's a little bit like rewiring our brain. Repetition is not just a learning tool, it's the very mechanism in which we rewire ourselves. Every time we repeat a positive thought or affirmation, we strengthen that neural pathway that supports a positive mentality or mindset. This is going to help us develop positive expectancy, and that will help us live the affirmative life. This is a journey of transforming our internal mentality, of replacing the thorny negative thoughts with beautiful thoughts and positive thoughts and hope. As we continue working this, and we continue with our weekly class, let's embrace the practice of seeing the good in every situation, of repeating our affirmations over and over again until we believe them with passion, until there is a shift. When we're teaching affirmative prayer, they'll say it's the time, the art, the method of ridding that negativity. And in the old classes, they used to say, until there's a shift. We want to repeat them till the place where we believe them ourselves. Remember, every thought, every word is not just a statement. It's a step towards a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled life. With that in mind, we're going to close this evening's class, at least my portion of it, and we're going to open it up to hear from you. I'd love to hear from people who are new and at least say, hi, I'm from Kansas or Vermont or California, wherever you're from. And please comment on what it's been like being you, what that internal dialogue is, and whether it's been life-giving. And all of us are works in progress, so please don't be afraid to share where you're at. We're all here supporting one another. So let's turn it over to you. Thank you.